listening to the Laundromat Resource podcast, the show by laundromat owners for laundromat owners, with your host, Jordan Berry. Yes, Jordan.
What's up, guys? It's Jordan from Laundromat Resource podcast, and I am pumped that you're here today because today, at Laundromat Resource, we are all about helping you find financial freedom through laundromat ownership. That's our goal. That's our aim. We're doing a ton of things to help you do that, including this podcast where we're sharing a ton of useful information, hopefully, and we're interviewing other owners who are sharing their stories and their secrets to success. It's been incredible run so far. We have coaching calls. We have free coaching at laundromatresource.com/coaching. We have relatively inexpensive coaching once you get really into the process. Still at laundromatresource.com/coaching. We have a blog. We have a YouTube channel. We got a lot going on to help you. We're trying to help you match you up with brokers. I mean, we have a ton of stuff going on, and there's more coming all the time. And today is all about helping you find financial freedom through laundromat ownership. So if you own a laundromat or laundromats, or if you're trying to get into the business, today is a day where I just want to take a few minutes of time. It's going to be a little bit shorter of a podcast because I just want to take a little bit of time because it's the middle of the year when we're recording this. If you're listening to it later, it's still going to apply for you. But right now it's timely because it's the middle of the year and it's a natural time for us to just take a look at the first half of the year and look forward to the second half of the year. And that's what we're going to do just for a few minutes today. But before we get into that, I want to highlight one of the questions on the forum from Steven. I actually know Steven. I've known Steven since he was a kid, basically. And he's an awesome guy, but he jumped on the forum. He's looking into buying a laundromat. And here's basically what he says on the forum. He says, "Hey guys, what's up? I found a laundromat that I think is a really good deal, and it seems to fit what I'm looking for really well." But he says 3.8 miles away, there is a pristine laundromat that is larger and it's better. And I don't know if that's going to affect the business of the laundromat I'm eyeballing or not. How far away does a laundromat need to be in order for it to not really affect a business, another laundromat? And I thought that was a great question because it comes up, some variation of that comes up all the time in coaching calls that I do and conversations that I have with people who are getting into the laundromat business or wanting to, and even people who are buying, their second or third laundromat. That's just a really common question. And I thought that some of you guys who've gone through this process before are going to know how to help Steven, because obviously the answer is it depends. But I thought that a lot of you guys who really are knowledgeable about this can really help him figure out what it depends on, and in his particular situation, how he can determine kind of what that radius should be. So head over to laundromatresource.com/forums. Click on the Laundromat's forums because that's where he posted the question. Go help Steven out over there with that question. And I know that he will be super appreciative. And not only him, but I know a lot of people who have that question will head over there and see that. And so you will be basically and essentially a laundromat hero by answering Steven's question. So go be a laundromat hero and answer Steven's question at laundromatresource.com/forums. And I'll put the link down in the description or in the show notes. Today's show notes are at laundromatresource.com/show12, all one word, laundromatresource.com/show12. But while you're over at the forums, you know the drill. Every single week, I'm just going to try to brainwash you. That's my goal now, is to brainwash you. Go to the forums every week, ask a question, answer a question. And the reason for it is because I've had a couple of coaching calls and people are like, I know, ask a question, answer a question. I love that. It just makes me feel powerful. it makes me feel powerful that I can brainwash you. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, I honestly, genuinely believe that we're all going to be better off by going over to those forums, getting to know each other, helping each other out, and answering questions, asking questions, interacting, talking about what's working, even talking specific numbers. I know there's been a big taboo in our industry about talking specific numbers, turns per day, how much equipment costs, all that stuff. But you know what? I think that it only benefits us more to talk about those things. And the reason I think that those things are a secret is because it benefits the people who are providing those services more than us. So that's just my opinion, but go over there and share all of that stuff. I don't know if you can hear what's going on right now, but it's getting crazy over here outside of my laundromat. I don't know what's happening, but it sounds fun. You probably can't hear it, sorry. But I'm having a blast listening to it. Anyways, one other thing about the forums, while you're over there answering Steven's question, asking your question, answering your question on the forums, I know that you guys have loved hearing the stories and the interviews of laundromat owners that we've had so far. We've had incredible people on so far, and we have some more incredible people coming on. I've already been talking to them. And I know you guys have really, really loved it. I've gotten a ton of really good feedback on these guests that we've had. And to be honest with you, it's one of my favorite, it's probably my favorite thing that I'm doing in life right now, outside of hanging out with my family and stuff. But like getting to know these podcast guests and, really just kind of becoming friends with them. Speaking of which, quick pause. If you're interested in being on the podcast and you own a laundromat or multiple laundromats, laundromatresource.com/podcast guest for more information. I love to have you on. I am looking forward to just getting to know as many of you as possible. So go check that out. If you're interested, laundromatresource.com/podcast guest. Again, link in the descriptions or in the show notes at laundromatresource.com/show12. Check that out. But anyways, I know you guys will really love that. I've really loved that. And we're going to be doing a lot more of that. I have more lined up for you. Don't worry. You're not going to be listening to me forever. But somebody made this suggestion. I thought it was a great suggestion. And they said, hey, we need a place to get to know each other outside of the podcast. We need a place to network and to get to know each other. So what I went ahead and did was on the forums, laundromatresource.com/forums, I created a new forum. And the forum is called Introductions. And that probably seems really obvious about what it is, but just in case, Introductions is just a place where you can go and introduce yourself. It's a place where you can say, here's where I'm at in my laundromat journey. I own a laundromat. I own multiple laundromats. I own commercial real estate. I own residential real estate. I'm brand new and I'm trying to get into laundromats. I want to buy my first one. Here's where I live. Let people get to know you and get to know other people and go interact, network, and that's what that forum is all about and what it's for. It's for networking, introducing yourself, and being, welcoming each other to the community. So go do that there. If you have questions about real estate, go do that in the laundromats forum, in the financing forum, in the commercial real estate forum, in the repairs forum, any of those forums. The Introductions forum is only for introductions. That's what it's for. That's what it's there for. So go do that. I'm super excited about it. Now, I am ready to get into this show today because I think it's a really important one. It is for me. Maybe it's just for me that 2020 has been kicking my butt and I need a little bit of a pep talk and I need a little bit of a vision of how to move forward for the rest of this year so that I'm not just like clinging to life in 2020. I'm actually growing and thriving and surviving with my businesses this year. And that's what today's all about. But before we get into it, here's a quick message.
In today's world, if your laundromat is not online, you're losing business. Customers increasingly decide who to trust with their laundry by the quality of your web presence. But creating a professional logo and website that instills trust in potential customers and can be found on page 1 of Google can be difficult to create on your own and expensive to purchase through a traditional marketing company. As part of our mission to help laundromat owners succeed and find financial freedom through laundromat ownership, we are launching our done-for-you marketing service tailored specifically for laundromats. After ranking #1 on Google with our own laundromat website and consulting with many others to help them do the same, we guarantee that we can build you a professional website that ranks on page 1 of Google within 6 months. Our joint expertise in the laundry industry and over 15 combined years in website design and online marketing allow us to offer affordable, transparent pricing for a high-quality web presence for your laundromats. You invest so much into providing your customers a quality laundry experience. Don't let anyone miss out on what you have to offer simply because they can't find you online. Let Laundromat Resource Marketing take care of your online presence so you can take care of your customers. Visit laundromatresource.com/getonline today for more information. That's laundromatresource.com/getonline or click on the link in the description.
All right, 2020 has been a doozy for a lot of us. It's thrown a lot at us this first half of the year that no one could have anticipated. And I don't know about you, but it's kind of left my head spinning a little bit. I know some of you guys, your businesses have not been affected by anything going on this year. Some of you guys, your business has been way down. Some of you, your business has been down a little bit. So all the way in between. Some of you guys, like me at one of my laundromats right now, are struggling to even find quarters because there's no quarters anywhere. I mean, there's just, 2020 is, it's just thrown it all at everyone this year. And I'm trying to figure out what is going on. And maybe you are too. And I wanted to take this podcast episode to look forward, because as I'm recording this, if you're listening to this right when it comes out, we're about the midway of the year, and so many of us have just kind of been hanging on for dear life. I know I have, in some regards, just been hanging on for dear life, trying to survive, keeping our heads above water. But I really wanted to have a mindset shift for the second half of the year, and I really wanted to get back to, okay, how can I help my businesses grow? How can I end 2020 stronger than how I began it? And so I wanted to just take this time. And if you're listening to this, it's not the middle of 2020. It's some other time. It's not the middle of the year. You can still do this. And I think that I want to go over 4 different sort of steps that I'm taking that I think might be helpful for you, whether you own a laundromat and you're wanting to finish the year strong with your laundromat or laundromats, or if you, if you're trying to get into the laundromat business. I think that there is still a lot for you to take away also into helping you achieve that goal by the end of the year. So before we get into it, I want to just take a second and do something that it might feel a little weird for you. It might sound a little weird, but 2020 has just created a lot of anxiety and stress for so many of us. And I wanted to just take a second before we jump into this to just take a couple of deep breaths and relax. And I want to do this actually, and also kind of metaphorically, but actually. So wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, if you are driving or you're at your desk where you should be working, forget about that. That's not important right now. I'm just kidding. But just, take a deep breath with me a couple of times, and then we'll jump into it. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. We do it every day, but let's just do it purposefully for just a second together. Just relax. And let's take a step away from the whirlwind that is running businesses in the first half of 2020. Because if it's anything like it's been for me, for you, it's been a whirlwind. There's always more to do. There's always something I can be working on. There's always some issue coming up. There's always some bill to pay. It's so easy to get sucked in to doing the day-to-day things and to not take a second to just take a deep breath to relax, and to widen our view out. I know we've talked about this before, but the reason I want this to be a little bit shorter of a podcast episode is because I want us to actually do it. Let's not spend so much time consuming and learning, and let's do. I'm going to talk about 4 sort of steps that I'm taking that you can take to figure out how to grow your business in the second half of 2020, or if you're looking to get into the industry to buy your first business, how you can move towards that goal by the end of 2020, despite what 2020 has thrown at us so far. Let's take things into our own hands and let's shift our mindsets to growing our businesses, not just hanging on for dear life. So the first step that I'm taking, and again, this is stuff that I'm doing that I thought might be helpful for the rest of you and all of us, really. The first step that I'm taking is I'm asking myself, what's the one thing that I can really focus on between now and the end of the year that is really going to propel the growth of my businesses the most? What's the one focus that I can have between now and the end of the year? And for you, that can be any number of things. Maybe for you, it's getting in there and fixing up machines that have been broken for a long time. Maybe for you, it's renovating your store. Maybe for you, you need to do a better job of marketing your laundromat, and whether you're doing that yourself or through a marketing company. Laundromatresource.com/get online. Excuse me. Shameless plug, sorry. But maybe for you, it is, adding like a service to what you're offering. Maybe it's adding a fluff and fold service or a pickup and delivery service to what you're doing now. Maybe, just maybe, you've had an employee who hasn't been performing the way that you had hoped or the way they need to be performing, and you've put off dealing with that problem. I think Luke Williford a couple episodes ago shared, when you have a problem, it's better to hit it head on and just address the problem. And maybe you have an employee that you have been putting off addressing that you need to address and replace to help your business go to that next level. Whatever the goal, the focus might be for you between now and the end of the year that you think is going to propel the most growth over the next few months, take a second and figure out what that might be. Set aside all of the things that usually take our attention, the bill paying, the managing the employees, the dealing with unhappy customers, the fixing broken machines, whatever it is that takes up all your time. Take a second, set it aside, find a quiet place, and ask yourself the question, what's the one thing that I can focus on for the rest of this year that's really going to propel the growth of my business between now and the end of the year? Or whenever you're listening to this, pick a date and do it. So that is number one. And I think that just stepping back and doing that really helps just kind of shift the mindset. And it really, for me, a lot of what's happened this year has felt like it's taken a lot of control of my businesses out of my hands. And this is one way that you can gain a little bit of that control back. That's my goal. That's what I'm trying to do. That's step one. Now, when you set a goal like that, maybe it's like, I want to add a fluff and fold business, part of my business, and I want to make $5,000 a month by the end of the year, whatever the goal might be. Let's just take that as an example. Now, by the end of the year, you're able to look to see if you hit that goal or not, but it's too late to do anything about it. So that's called a lag measure. Your goal is probably going to be a lag measure. Now, step number 2, you need to figure out some lead measures, some things that you can do along the way consistently between now and the end of the year that will help you achieve that goal. So when you get there and you can see whether you hit that lag measure, that goal, step number 1. Now, for example, this could be, we'll just stick with our fluff and fold, adding a fluff and fold service to our business example. Now, the lag measure is $5,000 a month by the end of the year. We'll know if we hit that, but we won't be able to do anything about it. So let's talk about some lead measures. Let's just brainstorm that together for whatever your goal might be. Your lead measures might be something like, I want to figure out how to run Facebook ads, and spend $5 a day, for the next 3 months to try to build up the business. And so that's a lead measure. You're setting up your ads, your Facebook ads, or whatever the case might be, and you're running those for $5 a day. Another lead measure might be, I want to train my employees to offer the Fluff and Fold service to our regular customers who are coming anyways, just to offer it to 10 people a day. And if they offer it to 10 people a day, then it's going to help build up the business. And that's something you can control, you can measure, you can adjust it along the way, and it's going to help get you towards your goal. So maybe another one might be, I want to create flyers with 50% off coupon that I want to, get out to the surrounding neighborhoods. Or whatever the case might be for you. What are the things that you can be doing consistently between now and the end of the year that are going to help you get to your goal, that you can measure and that you can determine along the way if you're hitting those lead measures, and if those lead measures are helping you get closer to your goal, to your lag measure. Now, that's step number 2. And those 2 steps are super important, and they're easier said than done. So really spend a little bit of time on these things, figuring out what is the one thing that's going to help my business the most between now and the end of the year, or whatever date you end up picking. And what are the things that I need to be doing in order to help me hit the goal? What are the things that I need to be implementing in my business, in the way that I run it, in the way that I train my employees, that are going to lead me closer and closer to that goal to be able to hit it by your target date, end of the year, or whatever it might be. Now, that is good and all, but sometimes it can be super overwhelming when you have all of these things, all these lead measures you're trying to hit. So for those of you Bigger Pocket fans out there, I know Brandon Turner has mentioned, if you've listened to the podcast or watched any of their videos, he's mentioned the MINS, M-I-N-S, and the MINS is the most important next step. So step number 3 is, now that you know your goal and your lead measures, you need to determine what is the next thing, the most important next thing that I need to do in order to hit those lead measures, in order to hit my ultimate goal. So for example, sticking with our Fluff and Fold example, let's say, you want to do Facebook marketing. And so your most important next step might be, for example, I need to create a Facebook business account for my laundromat so that I can run ads on Facebook. Or, and then after you do that, maybe then you have to establish another MINS, and most important next step. So after you've completed that, filled out the profile and everything, and you have a completed business profile on Facebook, well, now maybe your next MINS is to jump onto YouTube and learn how to, run Facebook ads. So that can be a progression that you do to help you hit your lead measures for your marketing goal. If that's your goal lead measure goal in order to hit your main goal of $5,000 a month for Fluff and Fold. Another route that you might take is, hey, the most important next step for me is to do some research on a marketing company that can help me run Facebook ads for my Fluff and Fold business. Laundromatresource.com/get-online. Excuse me. Shameless plug again. But maybe, or whoever it might be, finding, that might be your MINS, is researching, marketing companies that can help you run ads. So That's your MINS. So step number 3 is breaking those lead measures down into your most important next thing to do. It's something to take action on. You got to do it today, tomorrow, as soon as possible. It's the most important thing that's going to help you hit your lead measures. It's going to help you hit your ultimate goal. And so you got to do it. Now, the thing is with that, once you know what it is, let's say it's researching, marketing companies to help run Facebook ads for you. If you know that's on there, it's on your checklist, it's on your to-do list. So for me, and I think for a lot of people, it may or may not get done. It's just things get so overwhelming. There's so many important things to do all the time that sometimes we procrastinate on the most important things because they're not the funnest. They make us feel uncomfortable, whatever the case might be. So step number 4, once you have your big goal and your lead measures that are going to help you achieve that big goal, and your MINS, your most important next step that are going to help you hit those lead measures to hit your main goal, then you need to schedule it. You need to put it in your calendar so that it gets done. Now, keep that time sacred. Make sure that you are focusing on it because it's the most important next step to help you hit your goal. Super important to do. So that's your MINS. And this is kind of the process that I am going through right now. For me, I'm trying to grow my pickup and delivery service right now. So that's my big goal for the end of the year, is to grow that portion of my business, pickup and delivery service. And so, I have different lead measures to help me get there. And that include things like advertising. That includes things like reorganizing and restructuring the physical laundromat store to make it more ideal to facilitate pickup and delivery services. And, my most important next steps, I'm defining those along the way. And after I complete one, I think about, okay, what's my next MINS? What's my next most important next step? And then I put that in my calendar and make sure I have time to actually accomplish it, set it aside, make it sacred, and put away all the other things that are always taking up my attention so that I can work on that. Now, again, this is the middle of the year while I'm recording this. You might be listening to it later, whenever you're listening to it. It doesn't have to be a midpoint of the year, the beginning of the year. Wherever you're at, might be a good time to just take a breath, set aside all of the whirlwind things that are keeping us busy, and focus on your business and say, how can I grow my business between now and whenever? And what are the things that I need to do? What are the things that I need to focus on? Schedule it and get working on it. Now, again, this is a little bit shorter episode than normal, partially because we don't have an interview this week, but we'll have them. Don't worry. I know you love them. I love them. They're not going away. We're bringing people back. I got a bunch of people lined up. And if you're interested in being one of those people, laundromatresource.com/podcast guest. I would love to talk to you, to hear your story, to hear what's working for you, and to hear what your experience has been like owning laundromats. So laundromatresource.com/podcast guest. This is Jordan for the Laundromat Resource Podcast, show number 12. Thanks for listening. And I hope that the end of 2020 and whenever you're listening to this going forward is your best yet, and that you're seeking growth. You're always looking to grow your business, your influence in the community, and the good that you're doing in this world. And let's do it together by going to laundromatresource.com/forums. Go to the introductions thing, meet some people there, introduce yourself over there, and let's just, let's just do it all together. All right? Financial freedom through laundromat ownership. This is Jordan again, and we will see you next week. Peace.